On tonight's episode of the Queer Eye After Show on AfterBuzz TV, we are riding low and diving deep into Mexican Chicana culture with one of the most deserving heroes that I've ever seen. Stay tuned. We're going to season of people who are like deeply embedded in charitable organizations, like some really altruistic people that we're helping.
Completely. And I thought as the episode moved on and we learned more about our hero, what she was doing, it all made sense. And I definitely see that trend throughout the entire season. It's been great.
Giving back to the people who give back for a living. Like, how meta and beautiful is that at the same time? If you guys are tuning in right now, as I said, we are discussing Queer Eye Season 4, Episode 6, A Tale of Two Cultures. And for this episode, we were introduced to a hero named Diana Munoz.
Love.
She was nominated by her family. She identifies as Chicana. She's a Mexican-American woman. So she kind of toes the line between two cultures.
Absolutely.
She is the founder of the Latino Arts Festival in Kansas City, Missouri. And her festival celebrates the underdeserved and underrepresented artist community in Kansas City, which is pretty dope.
Completely. I love Deanna. She has so much flavor, and I'm sure we can talk about this in a bit, but I definitely related to her because I definitely feel like I struggle between cultures at times, being Jamaican American, what does that mean? And I just love how much she cared about the arts, giving back, and wanted to be a positive role model, not just for her community, but for her family too.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. You made a good point. She is a mom. She has a bunch of cute little kids. She's 42 years old, and she's in this space of like very much into her own personal style, but she has to wear a professional hat most of the time because of what she does.
Yeah.
So she's in a very interesting part of her life right now. And this is where the Fab Five kind of comes in to help her navigate that space in a way that speaks true to who she is.
Absolutely.
As they
Without
always
getting
do.
rid of her fun lowrider. I love the lowriders because that's like literally I know nothing about that culture, but it was so cool to see the cul-de-sac full of lowriders and how much Deanna identified with that. So I thought it was interesting, a good challenge for the Fab Five because they wanted to elevate her without taking her away from her Mexican American roots and her lowrider culture.
Yeah, it's so funny the way it seems like every hero seems to be even more vastly different from the Fab Five. Like, I always just picture what Antoni is thinking when he walks into certain environments that are so completely different from what we know his culture to be. But obviously, Karamo was actually right at home in this one. He was very familiar with the lowrider culture. And for those who aren't familiar with it, I mean, if you've watched the episode now, you should be a pro on it. But us being in California, that's something that we see actually here in some of the neighborhoods. Some of the communities do that, especially with the large Mexican community here. It's something that is very prevalent. Yeah. And very interesting.
Definitely. It was cool to have it shed more light on that because I didn't know that much about it. And it was really cool to see, especially a woman in that culture and what it meant for her to be older and a mom, but still involved with this community. She met her husband that way. So it was really cool for me to learn more about that.
I think I thought it was really sweet that she met her husband in that environment, that she embraced it despite the fact that she doesn't speak Spanish.
I know. Well, she doesn't do a lot of things that are traditionally Mexican, but that's a huge part of her identity. So that's kind of what they have to navigate throughout this entire episode.
Can I just say that made me relate to her that much more, that like she's still so proud of her culture and who she is, even though there are elements of it that she hasn't quite mastered yet or would be deemed as like authentic and real as other people in her culture who know how to do those things. I know you said it being with your culture, Jamaican American. I go through the same thing being a second generation Haitian American and being so proud to be Haitian, but also like my Creole isn't the best, you know. I haven't quite mastered all the authentic Haitian food, but I'm diehard Haitian and proud of it.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting to navigate that. Which Deanna does well and with style. She just needed a little bit of tweaking.
Yes. Where should we start? Which Fab Five member should we begin with tonight?
Who should we get into? Well, before we get into that, let's talk about a little bit more about why she was nominated. Okay. I know we kind of talked around it, but her foundation, they throw this Latino Arts Festival event every year. And what really stuck out to me was the fact that the last few years that she's had these festivals, she's never gotten up and spoken in front of the community that she serves.
Yeah, she has people speaking for her, and she's kind of shy and reserved, even though she has such a great personality and so much heart, and it's her organization. I mean, hello, you should be hearing from the leader, right?
Yeah.
So she always has these people speak for her, and I love that her challenge for this episode was to get to a place where she got the makeover, got, you know, some cultural, you know, I don't even know, like Karamo's magical wand of culture.
Seriously.
And was able to work on that and be able to do that for herself and for her community and her family and her organization.
Yeah, because her organization is doing such great work in the community. You can tell that the people that she works with really appreciates her. She puts her whole life, her soul into her work. Yeah. So to be able to be the face of your own brand and represent it in that way is crucial. And she really just needed a little bit of a push.
Of course.
And I think, you know, now that to answer our question, we can really start with, I want to say Tan and Jonathan, because they really had a lot to do with the outward appearance here. Because when when we meet Deanna, she is tatted up.
Tatted up, girl. Tatted up, spaghetti strap tank top. I mean, short shorts with her little shoe, her white Nikes.
Yes.
And I love the youthful energy, but she's 42 and she's a mom, and it's just, you want to have just a little bit more presentation when you're going out trying to raise money, talking to community leaders, talking to people within the community, and maybe even political leaders to try and get sponsorships and money. You can't really look like that. But I get that she doesn't want to change who she is and go into this frumpy suit and Ann Taylor loft look or whatever. But I appreciate that they come in and see her for who she truly is.
Right, because to your point, she is working in the arts. So to be in a frumpy suit wouldn't necessarily...
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit her vibe, and that's something that Tan picked up on really well. Jumping right into their conversation and their transformation, through trying things on, Tan has realized you've got your personal Deanna style down. Mm-hmm. She loves the big eyeliner, the big hair,
those hoops.
The hoops. Yeah. Man, I'm wearing my hoops tonight for you, Deanna. I got them going on right now. I love a good hoop. As a Brooklyn girl, I'll tell you, I love a good hoop. But again, needing to get her professional look down in a way that still screams, I work with the arts. I have a personality. I look good. And what did you think about the looks that Tan kind of worked her into slowly but surely?
Okay, so we got there too far in the other direction.
Yeah.
I get the approach to have it be feminine and fun and flirty, but it just screamed like too conservative, kind of nun-like. I did not like the ruffle and the poof sleeves. The other look, the layered look with the t-shirt, I thought the t-shirt was like 10 sizes too big, and the frumpy jacket. I was shocked because I am a diehard Tan France, can do no wrong. However, so I'm going to save myself. However, I think that in the later, what she wore for the parade and then what she revealed to the guys was fantastic.
Right. A little more up her alley.
Exactly.
I think that's Tan's kind of MO, though. Like, he kind of gives you one way very far in the other direction to kind of just show you the range, and then kind of brings it back to where you are. Sometimes successfully, sometimes not so successfully. But I think we can both agree he ended up pulling it together. The jumpsuit was absolutely my favorite look.
I was like, give me more of that spirit and that vibe, because to me that felt like the perfect middle ground.
And who doesn't love a good jumpsuit?
Right?
Like, can we just talk about the kind of confidence that literally just oozes out of you when you have a nice fitted piece that really speaks to your personality and is professional to boot?
And she was so covered, but still sexy, age appropriate, and fun. That's who she is. Deanna's a fun woman.
She is a fun woman. And I feel like her fun spirit, she definitely uses it in the way, or she expresses it rather in her big hair and the tattoos and like those kind of outward things. But I felt like watching this episode, she very much was reserved with that part of herself that she, like, you can tell she's very much struggling with her identity. And because of that, she was very reserved. She wasn't reaching out to people in her own neighborhood for good reason, which we'll get into later with some things that she went through, some very terrible racist experiences. But in terms of like just her own family, like she was so intimidated by the strong Latin women in her life who've kind of set this precedent for her that she feels like she can't live up to. And it really made her really shy and bashful around the guys. You can see that from the beginning to where she is at the end. It's like a world of a difference.
I completely agree. It's hard, watching her. You mentioned the food thing. It's hard to go to your mother-in-law's house every single night for dinner, 5 nights a week, and then the rest of the time you're ordering takeout. Like, I think that has to do something to your self-esteem as a provider for your family.
Yeah.
It takes a toll, don't you think?
I can definitely agree. I mean, growing up and having both my sets of my grandmothers, rest in peace to my grandma who passed, but having them both in my life and kind of watching my mom navigate that space, because my mom too isn't like the biggest cook. And I know that was definitely a source of like insecurity, not being able to give that to your kids is really tough.
Yeah.
So that's where Antoni kind of steps in and saves the day. How crazy is it though, like on a real note, to just have this white gay guy come in and teach you about your culture?
I know, it's crazy, but only Antoni can do it. You know what I mean? It's like nothing about this episode to me felt offensive. Again,
right.
I am not Mexican American, so I can't like really speak on behalf of that community. But as someone who has been, we've all faced our own, I don't know, hints of racism or been marginalized. So I really felt like this could have been a tricky situation for him to navigate, but I thought he did it with class and it was very welcoming. Using her family to help him, I think was like a nice community effect. And I thought this was so well done for the show to be able to tackle a cultural sort of racial issue and something that runs so deep as cooking and culture and, generational women, what that means.
Yeah, I think he took the right approach. And I think while, cooking with them, he did say, I understand why you are a little bit intimidated by your mother-in-law. I think her name was Esperanza. Very sweet.
Strong.
But she was strong. She did not play. Her recipe had to be her way.
Oh my God. And the apples and the this and the that. No, I was confused.
Yeah, they definitely had a lot going on. But what I appreciated was that they didn't skip out or edit out all those steps because it is so important to the culture and the fabric of what they do. And it's within those steps that the community is formed, that the bonds are happening. And I think he really pushed Deanna to lean into that. Like, yes, it can be intimidating, but what you're afraid of, you'll never conquer standing on the outside, watching them do what you want to do.
Completely agree. Could not agree more.
Definitely. Antoni slayed that. I guess we skipped over Jonathan and went straight to Antoni.
Okay, Jonathan. Okay, can we go to Jonathan for a second? Because I love this transformation. I thought he was going to have to chop because that hair girl was so fried. That hairspray, it was so stiff. Every time she moved, nothing moved with it. Like, nothing. Like, it was like a helmet of hair.
It kind of reminded me of like Guido style, no? Like the very Italian, the big hair and hairspray. I guess
teasing. Do you know how bad teasing is for your hair? She does it every day. The heat styling with the irons. I mean, her hair needed some serious JVN TLC. And he served it up though. I mean, he really did. He got in there with conditioning products, gave her roots, girl, were this thick.
It was bad.
Different color. And I get it. She was like, I wanted to look like J-Lo with the honey blonde. And you can feel how much she wants to identify with Spanish culture. And I just thought he knocked it out of the park with those soft waves and kept her length. She still was who she was, which is, again, I say it every episode. These guys help people, our heroes, become the better versions of themselves. They're not changing people.
Right.
And I think he really helps her see herself as a beautiful woman without all of the theatrics, without having to go as big and as dramatic because it's radiating from inside now.
Right. It's like the hair almost becomes just like a buffer. Like people get so distracted by the fact that you have this big hair that maybe they're missing out on some really amazing things about your personality that they can't get past because your hair is so huge. No shade to her hair. I mean, yes, it was unhealthy, but like that was her look. I really appreciated the way Jonathan told her, you can still have that volume that you want, but just in a different way, in a healthy way. Just tousling it made all the difference.
Yeah, and she's had that hair since the 90s. So it's not even just that the hair was bad. I'm not trying to like be too hard on her, but it's also like having the hair become a reflection of different parts of her personality, mixing it up. So hey, girl, if you want to wear a ponytail or a side part or a middle part, it doesn't mean that that's tied to your identity. You're just having fun and expressing your personality.
Yeah, it doesn't make you any less you because you're not doing the same style you do every day.
Which I thought was important.
And it was also like a personal dig. I gotta say, watching that as a viewer, I was like, dang, girl, Christine, when's the last time you switched up your part? Like, take these lessons in stride. So
I'm a strong middle part too. I'm a strong middle part.
I was like a strong side part for so long.
Me too.
That when I switched to middle, it was like, that's it. This is amazing.
And God forbid you switch sides, because like I'm a side. If I have a side part, it's always on the left. I can't side part on the right. I can't.
Man, if any of our female viewers can relate, drop us a comment and let us know how you feel and just your personal attachment to your hairstyles. Because honestly, we can definitely learn a lot from this. But like we said, nailed it. Got the coloring right, got the vibe right. I also appreciated that he took it a step further and showed her a different makeup look.
Yes.
That's something that as women, we can definitely get stuck in our ways with doing. Unless you're like a super creative superstar like our producer, Steph, in the booth. She's rocking some amazing makeup looks today that you guys can't see, but wanted to shout her out.
Steph in the booth.
Steph in the booth. But yeah, he kind of showed her like a muted look. Just because, like, imagine walking into a meeting with the mayor of Kansas City.
Your eyeliner is this thick, girl?
Yeah. It's a little intimidating. Like, it sucks that we even have to speak about it in this way because makeup is a form of self-expression.
Sure.
As an artist and as a creative, I understand why she goes that route. But again, there is kind of a time and place for everything. And in certain environments, there are ways to kind of tailor your look to really get what you want. Because at the end of the day, it's not about, like, being any less yourself. It's about being the best version of yourself to get exactly what you want, which is key.
Exactly. I think it mirrors the hair. So it's less about stifling her personality and showing her how makeup and hair can enhance the different aspects of who she is. So it's, yeah, if you want to go in for a meeting and look a little bit softer, a little bit sweeter, you go with the pink lip. If you're out on date night with the husband, go red, do your big eyeshadow and your big eyeliner, you know? So it's showing her that your everyday doesn't have to be locked in to your 1990s look.
Yeah, and it was very 90s.
Yeah, it was. I mean, she said it. She said, I've been wearing the same hair, teased and sprayed, since the 1990s.
My goodness. So. It's almost like a little time capsule. Just amazing.
Well, I'm ready to break through that time capsule. So
same girl,
I love her, but I'm like, I was so thankful when Jonathan did his reveal.
Before we move on from Jonathan, though, I do want to talk about the conversation that they had in the chair because, you know, being in the hairdresser's chair is like almost like a therapy session, which it usually is.
I go every week. Trust.
Oh, so good. So grateful. But we really do get a tough moment in this chair where, you know, Deanna starts talking about reaching out to her community and feeling like she doesn't belong, feeling like she's too white for her Mexican community and then not Mexican enough for her actual community. And then being confronted, because even though she's going through that internal battle, in terms of the way the outside world sees you, when you're in public, she's still just viewed as a minority. Mm-hmm. And she kind of got into explaining this situation where she was in Walmart and some guy hit her with a broom and told her to go back to her country.
Disgusting.
My skin was crawling listening to that because, like, real talk, looking at her, it's like, yes, I see the ethnic features, but I guess speaking from my experience as a Black woman, if we were in a space together, I would assume that maybe I would get more looks, or maybe that's an ignorant thing to say, but be on the receiving end of some serious racism. But as a Mexican American, she felt it firsthand. And I thought it was actually genius for this episode to cover her, considering our political climate right now and the outward hate towards Mexican Americans or immigrant Mexicans. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's infuriating. And to know that in this terrible little not terrible small town, but in this small town that she's experiencing something so terrible like this.
Yeah, Karamo even said she's the first Latina woman female hero that they've had, which I can't believe it's been 4 seasons. Like, it's about damn time.
And it took this long.
But Deanna is the perfect first person. That really hurt my heart when she was talking about that. And she also mentioned another anecdote where her husband was building the retaining wall in her front yard because they had some water damage, and someone in the community said, oh, look at the Mexican building his own wall. I mean, it's just so disgusting. And it makes you understand, though, where she's coming from, because when you're facing that adversity, yes, you're putting on a brave face. Yes, you're standing up for yourself and your kids. You also want to make peace. You also don't want to. She's fighting a lot of different things, and it's a hard position to be in. And I understand how over time that really wears on you and makes you want to close up and not go out into the community anymore.
And express yourself and explore your identity, because you are constantly bombarded with all those conflicting messages and messages of hate. And it's really tough. And that's why I admire her that much more for the work that she does in the community, because she's not letting it stop her from being an inspiration to her daughter,
Absolutely.
to the underserved youth in her community, to the artists who need a chance. Like, shout out to her for real. Well, so we touched a little bit on her conversation with Karamo. In the same breath of kind of telling him about her husband's experience, he challenges her to do something that she has never done before, which is go door to door in her community, handing out flyers.
Yeah.
I mean, she does have a big event coming up.
I don't even know if I could go door to door now with like anything. Like, remember when you had chocolate as a kid or candy and doing sales? Like, I don't even know how I did that, because I couldn't even imagine going through my neighborhood and doing that as a grown woman now. So I completely related to her. I love that Karamo had the foresight to just have her attack it straight on and go around. And she was met with so much positivity and so much warmth. Like, what did you think about that entire scene when she was talking to the neighbors and getting such great feedback?
I loved it. And I don't want to misquote her, but I think she said something about like getting out of her comfort zone in that same breath. But I thought it was beautiful because she was met with a lot of support. There were people who, I think one neighbor said like, yeah, going to an art show or something like that is something that's like always on my list of things to do, but I never get around to it. Bam. You literally just handed her an opportunity to fellowship with you, to learn about what you do in this community. And it's like a win-win. You definitely want those kind of experiences when showing somebody what your life's work is. I felt so happy that she was received that way.
Yeah, and what I love too about this, it wasn't just the neighbors to her. She kept saying like, my home is your home. If you ever need anything, we're always here for you. We're always welcoming. So it wasn't just her trying to insert herself into their lives. She was really making a space in that neighborhood for her neighbors to feel welcome with who she is and her culture and her home and her family.
Yeah, especially her family, I was going to say, because this kind of relationship that she's cultivating now, it's going to benefit her kids as well. Because
absolutely,
thinking about how she, as an adult, who, usually at that point we're a lot more secure in ourselves, feel about how she feels about her presence in the community. Imagine her kids, so kind of taking that step for them, I think is great. Because now, they'll be able to all interact in a better way.
Exactly.
Amazing. Love Karamo. Got the tears out as per usual.
As per usual.
Also, fun fact, we learned that Karamo is half Cuban this episode.
I was like, I did not know that. And I thought that was amazing. And he also was talking about how he relates more to his African-American side. He's Jamaican as well, rather than his Cuban side. But that's a huge kind of thing he hasn't really tapped into. So he was relating to her, Deanna, on so many levels.
Love that. Love that. All right. I think we spoke about everybody except Bobby, and Bobby had the just anything. Exactly. Or it could end up being a place where someone in the community who's having a hard time can literally just come and feel at home. So having that just open space to entertain guests was amazing. The art direction, amazing, authentic. Just really hit it out of the park.
And there's something to be said too, as two people who routinely freelance. There's something to be said about having a space outside of your house, where you can dress up and go to and be involved and have other people around you, or take a walk and get a coffee, and you're in the downtown, you're in the city, you're in the area that you're helping the most people. And I think mentally that's going to give her so much more tenacity, and I don't know, she'll be more fierce with attacking the work for her organization.
Absolutely. And we really saw that come to a head at the end of the week when they had their big event, the 3rd annual Latino Arts Festival. And we saw our girl Loud and Proud stand up and speak about her organization. She looked phenomenal.
This was a tan. I love this outfit with the pink, the ruffle. It was very feminine, but she was covered and professional. Her big David Yurman earrings. And I thought just the way that she spoke about herself and the organization, you could feel the confidence. And I thought the Fab Five really gave her she was proud of her heritage.
Definitely proud. And I think, again, going back to her daughters, like, this is something that's going to carry on through generations, because now they're seeing how proud their mom is of who she is, how she didn't let any obstacles stop her. I mean, I think early in the episode, she spoke about like wanting to give her daughter lessons or teaching her how to do something. And she realized she couldn't pay for it. So she learned how to do it herself. Like, talk about a go-getter.
Yeah. And she was a mom at 16, she said. So I have so much respect for someone who has been through so much, but still has such a kind heart. There is nothing callous or hard about her. Like, she has so much love to give to not only her family, but to the community as well. And I just thought she was able to truly shine and show her love in her speech at the festival.
Nailed it.
Beautiful.
It. Another successful episode, I would say.
Loved it.
Very, very good job by the Fab Five. I want to know what you guys thought was your favorite moment of this episode. Let us know in the comments. And I guess we're going to share ours.
Yeah, I thought maybe some best advice could be good.
Yes.
And for me, it was Tan who was talking about the middle ground of dressing as a young woman and as a professional. And I think that's something we can all relate to because it's hard because I'm 29, right? So sometimes I'm like, I want to be cute, I want to be young, but then if I go into an office setting, I can't be like wearing, a tube top,
right?
So I can't be looking like Kylie Jenner, and So I love that his advice was finding pieces that you can layer or mix and match, and that you can still have fun with your attire while being professional.
Yeah, I agree. I will say though, Tan, listen, I like Forever 21 still. Please stop crapping on Forever 21. Although he made some really good points. Yeah. I mean, I'm 27.
Her daughters could shop at Forever 21. I still shop at Forever 21.
I do too.
But my mom doesn't.
Fair point. That's literally
Does your
where
mom
we're
still
at.
shop there? Probably not.
No, I don't even think.
Does she know what it is?
My mom is mad Haitian. Love her. But yes, very, very good piece of advice there. I would say my favorite piece of advice came from Karamo. Just reminding her to step out of her comfort zone and to reach out to the people in her community. Something she was already doing, but just reminding herself that it starts on the most basic level with literally the people around you. So I really love that. And I also really loved honorable mention. It's not really advice, but just that moment that Antoni had with Esperanza and just the elderly woman in Deanna's family, because he was finally validated for putting Greek yogurt and sour cream.
Guacamole. I've never done that. I don't know if it's for me, but I understand conceptually why it would be good. Like, it's creamy, it's kind of sour, gives you some tang. And I can't believe it was such a thing with the Fab Five, hating on Antoni for that.
I mean, not even just them, but like us viewers. Like, we've been giving Antoni a ton of crap since, what was it, season 2 when he first made that guac, and people were like, what? Like, what? And we do that on a loop. Just So I love that moment for Antoni. And shout out to him also for speaking a little bit of Spanish.
He spoke a lot of Spanish this episode.
A lot of it.
I didn't even know that was a thing. As if Antoni could get any hotter than he did.
I mean, it's not even fair.
It's not even fair.
Gosh. Kudos to you, Antoni, though. It's all love. I think that about wraps up this episode.
Real quick, though, I would love to just share some news and gossip.
Oh, we're getting to it, girl.
Because I love a now and then. And I want to show you guys if Deanna kept up her look. And yes, she has. So this was posted just a few weeks ago. And look how beautiful. She's obviously kept up with Jonathan's hairstyling. Still got some big eyelashes.
But those lashes, though.
But they're done beautifully and don't look too much. Eyeliner is still on fleek. And I'm loving this straight, sort of soft hair with those big earrings. And her makeup, look how amazing.
The soft
She's
blush,
glowing.
The little pop of color in her earring. Yes.
Yes. So for anyone wondering and gossiping about Deanna and if she kept her look alive, she has. I'm very happy to report.
Still looking good, feeling great, never better.
Yes. Yes, honey.
Yes, queen. It is a hot girl summer, and Deanna is living her best life.
Chicana forever.
Chicana forever. It was just, this episode just made me feel good. Like, honestly, just as a woman, it was just like, yes, just a
little girl power.
Little girl power. And I really do wish her the best of luck with her organization. I hope they continue to raise money. If you're online, show them some love. I don't know where they are, but I'm sure they could use your support. So that about wraps up this episode. Yes. I can't believe season 4 is almost over.
Oh my gosh, we still got some more, but yeah, we're nearing the end.
Gosh, it just never feels like it's enough.
Never enough.
But we do have 2 more episodes to go, guys. So stay tuned to this channel. Make sure you're subscribed because we're going to keep breaking down Queer Eye all season long, guys. Losing my pen.
So excited.
Just too excited right now. But until the next episode, you guys can find me on social media at Christine Bean on Twitter and at Christine I Alexis on Instagram. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Anna K. Thomas on all social media, but Instagram is my favorite.
Nice.
That's
all
it.
right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Chicana forever.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.